Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Jafar Show. Welcome to another episode where we're going to discuss Russia, Ukraine, the invasion of February 24th. What happened that day? How was Ukraine able to stop that invasion? Let's talk about it when we come back. Thank you for coming back. So we're talking about the invasion of February 24th on 2022. What happened that day? Right after the speech of Mr. Vladimir Putin, when he finished the speech, the invasion started immediately. The invasion started from the north, from the east, and from the south. How did they do it from the north? We have Belarus. Guess what they did? Which is a trick that's been happening since forever. They said we're going to have some military exercises in Belarus, so we're going to send about 30,000 people of Russian soldiers to do some military exercises by the borders. Same trick that happened almost in 1973 when they were doing military exercises by the Egyptian peninsula, the Sinai Peninsula. So the Israelis, they found at the last minute, actually, they are lining up. This is real. And that's exactly what happened here with the Russian invasion. They were lining up there saying that, hey, we're going to be doing some exercises. But then suddenly the invasion, all those vehicles that were there, they attacked from the north. So now we have an invasion from the north, from the east, and from the south. 1 month later, what happened? We're going to go ahead and focus on the south. The Russian armies, they took their forces from Kyiv area from the north, and they took everything down to the south. You can ask me why. Why would I do that? I ask myself that question too. Bayraktar TB2. Bayraktar TB2. That is the name of the Turkish drone that saved Ukraine. Nobody talks about Turkey, huh? They're like a silent partner, but good for you guys. You saved Ukraine because those drones, they're very cheap drones, only hundreds of dollars, but they are able to do damage for like tanks. We're talking about ships, $1 million equipment, and you're just damaging it and sinking the ship with a few $100 drones. So that was the advancement that Russia, I believe, they didn't pay attention to because Ukraine are very smart. What they did first, they relied on these Turkish drones. And again, this is only a few $100 drones that are sinking $1 million ships. But they didn't stop there. What they did is they advanced the technology of these drones. And that's why we were hearing from the President Zelensky in the UN when he were talking, we have technology and want to share it with the world and all that. And that is actually the reason how they were able to stop that invasion. Because after that, when the Russian soldiers, they were able just focused on the south, they were able to take all that southeast, those separatist region, the Russian separatist region, the most Russian-speaking language, actually. We're talking about 20% of Ukraine. But also when they were doing that, they relocated about 2.5 millions from that southeast. They relocated them to Russia. They said that way you can be safe. Among the 2.5 million, there is about 400,000 children that they were relocated from the southeast Ukraine to Russia. And what he did, he signed some decrees to facilitate the adoption of these children without parental protection. And he gave them citizenship. On the same time, we have Ukraine that's complaining, saying that we have about 20,000 children missing. And that's why the International Criminal Court issued a warrant, arrest warrant for Mr. Vladimir Putin. It's for this issue right here, because they're saying that you took some children, you relocated them without the permission of their parents right there. And now they are Russian citizens. On September 22, what Russia did is some referendum. They already annexed Crimea first. That was the first thing to be annexed. Then after that, all that southeast, they did referendums. Of course, the majority want to join Russia. So now will be annexed by Russia. And that's actually what Russia wants. And that's where we are until now, ladies and gentlemen. From November 2022 until now, Russia was able to get about 1% more of the land of Ukraine. So that shows you there's not much advancement, and that's where they are right now. It's a war of attrition right now. We call it because all what it is just people are dying, but the line is not moving much. But when we're talking about people dying, they're dying from both sides. And when we're talking who can last longer, for sure, Russia can last longer when we're talking about attrition. Also, when we're talking about money, who can last longer, Russia can last longer because they rely on a system that can overpass the sanctions. They rely on the shadow fleet. Those are ships that they go under different name, under different businesses. But actually what they do is they're selling Russian oil. And they do that all over the ocean. So Russia is surviving as far as the money because they're not relying on other entities to give them that money. Unfortunately, Ukraine is relying on Europe and the US. And we'll talk more about it in our next episode because we want to talk about the solutions. We want to talk about what can we do from either side, and also what can US do and what can Europe do. So thank you again for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be with you next time with the solutions. Please leave some comments. Please share the word. Please spread the peace. Please tell everyone what we're doing here. We just want to inform, want to make people aware of the conflict, and it's not even worth it. That these people at the end, they love each other. When I speak to Ukrainian, they told me, oh, my best friend is Russian. And the same thing, when I speak to Russian people, oh, I married a Ukrainian. So these people are, again, brothers and sisters. All they want to do is eat ice cream and take their children to school peacefully. Thank you guys for being with us.